So you've decided to create a BookTube channel. Well done, you. And we're glad to have you join this wonderful community. Hello everybody, welcome to and welcome back to my channel, Book Time with Elvis with me, Mark. And I'm making a video. I'm making a video of 15 video ideas that you as a new booktuber or even an established booktuber can consider. Nothing particularly original here. I mean, everything has been done by lots of people, but I thought I would collate some of them together to give you a few tips on what you can do should you be struggling for ideas. Now, what prompted me to make this video is a while ago I made a video called BookTube Needs You, and it still does, by the way, which I pretty much on a weekly basis still get comments on, which is really nice. And people saying that they have been inspired to do it, and it was a nice kind of pep talk to give people to joining BookTube, and I still stand by all that. And I do encourage anybody who's thinking about it to just take the plunge and jump in. You really have nothing to lose, and it's a wonderful experience and a wonderful hobby. So do it. But once you do it, what do you make videos about? Well, the first impulse for a lot of people, I mean, my first couple of videos on BookTube were actually video book reviews. Now, the strange thing is that considering this is a bookish community, review videos tend to generally not do that well unless you choose something maybe up and coming, or if you do a really good kind of review / guide on a particular classic, might get you a lot of views. But if you kind of just review every book that you've read, perhaps understandably so, your audience for those videos isn't going to be that good. But it doesn't matter because, as much as we love the community and we love all our viewers, there's a big part of what we do here as doing it for ourselves. There's kind of a catharsis, at least for me, to be able to get out there and talk about books. Even if only one person was watching, I'm able to just talk about it rather than sitting here thinking about it, keeping everything inside. I can at least put it out there into the ether, and whoever happens to watch it watches it. And I think, as I said, one of the reasons why these aren't popular is you tend not to watch reviews because you want to avoid spoilers. You might watch reviews after you've read the book, but also you're going to you're only going to watch review videos probably on books that interest you, or I'm not going to watch a lot of reviews on fantasy books, for example. And I have nothing against, obviously, people who make those videos. I think it's wonderful, but I don't read a lot of fantasy, so I'm probably not going to watch a review about a book to do with fantasy or romance, even for that matter. But there are plenty of people out there who will, and probably a lot more people out there are going to watch reviews of books to do with romance, fantasy, horror, etc., than the type of books I read. But that's all fine. But it's certainly something to think about, and I think it's also a nice way to maybe kind of get a feel for the type of channel you are, because then we can see more in depth the kind of books that you read, and that will that will build up your core audience, so to speak. I don't know if it was like the third or fifth video I made was actually the BookTube newbie tag. And that brings me to point number 2, which is doing tags. Now, I think tag fatigue sets in after a while, and I find I do far, far less tags than I used to. But when you're starting out, BookTube tags are a wonderful way to build up your viewers and your audience and the people who are going to be part of your community, other booktubers as well. It gets you out there. In addition to commenting on other people's videos a lot in the early stages, doing tags is an exceptional way to build up your community. Now, to be honest, nothing beats, I think, creating your own tags. Now, they don't have to be super unique. I mean, I created a couple of tags I thought were unique and then found out somebody is, there's nothing new out there, right? But you can just do it in your own way, which is unique because there's only one of you. But doing tags, tagging people, especially doing the newbie tag at the beginning is absolutely vital to building up your YouTube channel, your BookTube channel. Next up, you can make videos, for point number 3, you can make videos related to different types of challenges. Now, these aren't really in any particular order from now on in. So I'm not saying that point number 3 is more important than point number 11, for example. It isn't. These are just ideas. But there are all sorts of challenges going around BookTube. You can do challenge yourself to do different things, such as deep dives into particular authors. You can challenge yourself to read the entire back catalogue and complete works of particular authors. You could be someone like Miss Reads a Lot, Sandy at Miss Reads a Lot, who has decided to do the 1001 books before you die challenge. You could be like Criminoli or Michael K. Vaughan, or Greg at Another Bibliophile Reads, and try these kind of read what you own challenge, whether you try and read 25 books, 50 books, 100 books before you buy any new books. There are 1001 and more different challenges you can set yourself, and people like to see that, and they like to see how you get on with it. I don't often succeed in a lot of these challenges I try to do. I set myself a challenge of reading one work of French literature a month this year, and I have fallen behind over the last 2 months. Now, I may well pick that up and complete the challenge by December, by the end of the year, but I may not. But it doesn't matter. People love a heroic failure as much as a win. Or, well, maybe. Now, next up, you can, I guess it could kind of fall into the challenge thing, but you can set yourself the goal of going through different reading lists or book club lists, whether it's someone like, I don't know, I should look this up. Reese Witherspoon has one, maybe, I think, the actress, but things like The Guardian's top 100 books in the English language. Or another thing I found recently is you can find online university reading lists. So you can look at the English literature departments of different universities, and some of them do publish their expected reading lists, and that's very interesting, and it would be a kind of good thing to make a video on, I think. Now, something I've tried for point number 5, well, not really, but I didn't do it in the way that I'm going to suggest you do it, probably, but a lot of people like the idea of reading vlogs, like a 24-hour reading vlog or a weekly reading vlog, where you basically make a video diary of a weekend or a day or a week's worth of your reading, and you film everything, but then obviously speed it up because nobody wants to sit and watch. Well, they might do it, but probably don't want to sit and watch you for 3 hours just flipping through a book. But if you speed it up, people like that. And then, of course, if you can intersperse it with little trips to, I don't know, to cafes or shops in your town, I think that can be kind of a cool thing to do as well. You can try to read, for point number 6, one other idea would be to, I guess, again, it kind of falls into challenges. There's a very big umbrella on this challenge front. But you can challenge yourself to see how many books you can read in a 24-hour period. Or if you join events like one that just passed this shorty September, where you have to read one book a day for the entire month of September. And Heather at Soggy Expat Book Nerd does wonderful vlogs where she follows through her experiences of going through Shorty September. I look forward to it every year, and I always sit down in the morning with my breakfast and watch her videos about that. And then a particular favorite of mine for point 7 is, instead of just maybe necessarily making videos and recording those videos, is to go on and do a live stream. Once you've got a few friends on BookTube, or even if they're not on BookTube, but you have friends who are not camera shy, or if you think you can handle it yourself, is just go on, create a live stream, go on, allow your audience to interact with you by asking you questions. Now, it might be trial and error at first. You only get better the more you do it, and also I think don't be concerned about audience size in your live stream, because it will grow and you'll find the right time of day to catch most people in there. And then, of course, as your channel gets bigger, as your audience grows, they will make the effort to come and join you in those live streams. I think if you can do it with a buddy, I often have done it in the past with Sean D. Stanfast. It's kind of maybe more fun for you, because you're not grasping all the time at something to say and leaving a lot of dead air. You have somebody you can bounce back and forth with, and that makes for a better experience as well for your viewers. And of course, you can grow your channel, because I'm sure I received a lot more subscribers when Sean's viewers, Sean's channel is much bigger than mine, started watching the lives, and they came over and subscribed, and have now also become my friends and my viewers as well, which is great. And so live streams are wonderful fun. And some people do live streams in conjunction with events where they will talk about, Very Literary Carrie, for example, does this a lot. Whenever she finishes a book in her Black Hearts book club, the co-host and whatever and her will discuss that book, which is always great fun. Point 8 for me would be maybe something like bookshelf tours. People are curious, especially if you're sitting in front of a load of bookshelves. I don't really have that set up. I have a couple behind me here, but I don't have this big wall length bookshelf with loads of books, and I'm a bit further away from it, so you can't quite see. But people are nosy and people want to see what are on those shelves. So show us, and that can, depending how many books you've got, how many shelves you've got, that can be something that lasts a while. But then again, of course, if you maybe do it every day or every week, you might find that while initial viewing figures are high, it will probably decrease. So maybe spread it out a little bit over the course of the year would probably be my suggestion for that. And bear in mind, of course, I am no expert. I do not have a massive channel, but I'm very happy with the size of the channel I've got. And these are just some things that I can offer you as advice if you are like really starting out. As I said, most probably 90% of people who are already established in doing this know all this stuff anyway. So there's nothing new there. And maybe you know it as well, but I just want to kind of reinforce that a lot of these things have worked for me to get me where I am, in a position where I'm very comfortable and satisfied with my YouTube channel. And the fact that I have wonderful patrons as well from Patreon, which you see flashing up behind me there. So I wouldn't have got that if I hadn't got an audience. So that is definitely something worth thinking about. So bookshelf tours. Next up, for number 9, you could show us your most valuable books. And I don't mean that necessarily books due to high monetary value. They may well have high emotional or nostalgic value to you. And people love a book with a story behind it. If you can tell us why this book is your most irreplaceable book in terms of the value it has for you personally, and give a story behind it, people love that. People love to see, I think, the real personalities of the people here on BookTube. So that's another idea you could take. Number 10 is the tried and trusted book hauls. Now, that is something I always love doing. I'm probably not going to do one for a while, because although I haven't joined in the Read What You Own challenge, I'm very tempted to give it a go, because I feel that I do need to read more of what I've got, and I'm thinking perhaps from 2024 I will scale back. Plus also I'm going to hopefully be moving to a new house then, but I need to scale back on what I buy and actually get read some of the books that I already own. Of course, there will be some exceptions to that, like there are some exceptions to the Read What You Own challenge. So I do have a couple of books on pre-order that will come out next year, so that doesn't count, but there we go. But book hauls are a great way, but it can be an expensive way, unless of course you're lucky and have charity shops, thrift shops, and library sales and things like that, where you can get secondhand books. TBRs, of course, or POPs, piles of possibilities, the end or beginning of each month, where you show people what you plan to read over the course of a month, is another great video idea and way of engaging your audience. So again, they can get a feel of what your channel's about and what kind of things you're embarking on during each month. And then kind of linking up with that, for point 12 would be to try and maybe do a weekly reads and monthly wrap-ups, this kind of thing. I've been very poor at this myself. Now Sean and I, when we did the lives together, we did try and do a Friday reads where we would wrap up everything we read in that week, but since he's been busy and I've been flying solo and not really doing the lives, I haven't kept that up so much on the channel. But monthly wrap-ups too, I'm also terrible at, because being such a big mood reader, I find that I don't necessarily always stick to the TBR that I announced in point 11, and therefore my wrap-ups are maybe a little bit embarrassing because they're not what the TBR or the POP originally said. But again, it doesn't matter. Now, one thing I thoroughly enjoy, but isn't always necessarily a popular option, is reading aloud on your channel. Now, you have a choice. You can read aloud your own work, which I don't do, or you can read aloud works from the public domain. Of course, do not read aloud any works in full that are copyrighted, because you may find yourself in trouble. But if you read something from a site like Project Gutenberg or any other work that is in a public domain, do be careful if you are reading from a book rather than an ebook, because there may well be some change in that book that has meant that the book is still possibly in copyright to the particular publisher. So that's something to be careful of. So I think, for example, George Orwell is someone who has had the way his work has been edited means that some of his work is still in copyright, but if you read the original parts that you find in the public domain, you are safe. But if you're reading it from an actual physical book, depending the publisher is, you do have to be careful. So if it's on Project Gutenberg, you're probably safe. And I would read it from that rather than from any book. And it also goes for translations. So if you read an old translation from somewhere like Project Gutenberg, it's okay. But if you think, oh, well, War and Peace is out of copyright because it's, so old. Yes. However, if it's a new translation and you're reading it in English, that translation, you probably know this already, but that translation will be in copyright and you can find yourself in trouble. Though who would read War and Peace aloud on their channel? That would certainly be something. But yeah, short stories, that's what I love doing. Or letters, essays, that kind of thing. Next up, point 14, you could do top 10 lists. So your top 10 books, either related to specific themes, genres, that kind of thing. Your top 10 science fiction, your top 10 horror, your top 10 books by perhaps a prolific author, your top 10 Victorian books, for example, seeing as this is the month of October. And then lastly, point 15 here, you could do something like, which I've seen Michael K. Vaughan doing among others, which is the next 10 or the next 12 or the next 15 books related to a specific genre that you feel you want to read. So you could do the next 10 historical fiction I want to read, or the next 10 hard science fiction that I want to read, the next 10 fantasy I want to read, something like that, or the next 10 books by, Chinese women born in the 5th century or something like this. I don't know. But there's all sorts of things you can do with that. And it doesn't mean, of course, you have to read them back to back, but you've just set out, these are the next books that I want to read. So these are just some ideas that I was thinking about. Again, nothing super original there, but as if you have decided to start a BookTube channel, these are just some ideas to get you started. Good luck with your journey. Do let me know if the video has helped in the comments below. Do check out, of course, the BookTube Needs You video if you're thinking of starting a channel, because I hope that will give you some encouragement to do so. And let me know if you've started your channel so I can head over and subscribe to you. So everybody, thank you so much. Do have a wonderful day. Once again, I'd like to thank my wonderful patrons that you see behind me flashing up there. They're absolutely fantastic group of people. And yeah, do take care. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Oh, actually, no, maybe this video is not out on the weekend. I'm recording it on the weekend. So have a wonderful week. See, I'm not going to do any editing. I'm beyond that now. Have a wonderful week. And I'll see you all again soon. Do take care, everybody. Bye-bye.